Mari, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for having us here.
Yes.
It's an absolute blessing.
Thank you very much. Mari, things have gone crazy, in the world around us.
Yes.
And I know that you've been very outspoken on social media, and people really resonate with your message because they can see the truth in there. And we wanted to get you on just to be able to give you at least an hour or so. We'll see how time permits. God willing, to be able to flesh out some of these ideas, get your thoughts on where the world is going, how did we get in this mess to begin with, and just for you to give us just a bit of your insight. So we can start wherever you want to start.
Sure.
How did this all start for you, I guess, in this recent time?
Well, I guess if we look in recent times, more so back in 2020, where the whole world was affected by it, by what they actually called it as a pandemic, and with this COVID-19 or the coronavirus. When we looked at the source of it, we realized that it was not as it was actually revealed to the world. The way things were done in our beloved country, Australia, and all the countries of the world. But I'll speak more so about our beloved country, Australia, which we are proud to be Aussies. And we always pray for this country to be always protected and delivered from every evil attacks by the Almighty Jesus Christ of Nazareth. All glory to His holy name. But we saw how our country behaved throughout the pandemic, and I call it plandemic. I could not recognize my beautiful Australia any longer. What happened to this democratic country? What happened to this multicultural country? What happened to the freedom of speech, freedom of religion? I saw it diminishing and actually coming to a full halt before we even blinked our eyes. It was a shock, not only to me, I believe, to millions of true Aussies that have lived and all their life in this beautiful country. And throughout those 2 agonizing years, and until this moment, but more so those early 2 years from 2020 to 22, people went through so many trials, so many persecutions, mental attacks, emotional attacks. We saw a very big hike in people trying to commit suicide. Depression, anxiety skyrocketed in all ages, young and old. I personally, throughout those 2 years, received literally thousands upon thousands of emails, messages, and also phone calls. People calling young, crying over the phone, saying, "Bishop, what do you advise me to do? If I don't receive this jab, I don't have a job. If it was only for me, I would have done without a job. But I have a family to feed. I have so much responsibility on my shoulders. I don't have an option." People were absolutely destroyed. Family bond was actually attacked beyond recognition. It made family members to go against one another. Are you jabbed or not? 2 groups fighting. Children not allowing their parents to come and visit them and see their grandchildren. Baptism, on very precious occasions, which all says what family bond is all about, what our faith is all about. It is the time at baptismal times when all family get together. This is the beauty of our Christian faith. This is the beauty of our Christ. But we saw parents, grandparents being destroyed and shattered, brokenhearted, just because they chose not to be jabbed. The way it was politicized, beyond what it was really worth. the experts, when they initially came out and they said the survival rate of this so-called virus is 99.97 survival rate, I just wonder what kind of a pandemic is this?
Yeah.
Without any help of medications.
Yep.
Survival rate was 99.97 by the FDA, the TGA, and all the experts in the medical fields.
Yep.
So what is the problem then? Why are you imposing so strict rules and laws where you have enslaved your own people instead of protecting them? To me, it was slavery.
Yep.
Slavery in the making.
Yep.
So all these question marks naturally arose, asking why? What's happening? Where did this come from? Who is behind all this? And that's where it all began.
Yep.
And also what made us talk, I've said it at the time and I'll say it again. And it's very sad, and the Lord is my witness, very sad for me to say this. The universal church was so not only quiet about what was happening, but supportive of what was being done to the human race. That really was a shock to me.
Supportive, as in with the vaccine,
With the vaccine, with the
mandates,
with everything else.
with the restrictions of movement.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was an absolute shock to me. I was very sad, hurt, disappointed, but I just sat for a moment and I sort of contemplated on this. How much more is the Lord Jesus being really hurt here? Because to me, it was nothing but one big lie.
Yep.
One big lie.
And what I found interesting about this situation was that the lie seemed pretty obvious. It's like it didn't take an expert, and they were saying this on the media.
Yes.
About how the survival rate of the virus was 99%.
Correct.
Yet they were still enforcing people
Yes.
against their will. People losing their jobs, nurses, teachers, everybody.
Everyone.
Even within the Fairfield area, which is where you're from, and a lot of your community, people weren't even allowed to leave the area unless
Correct.
they had. And what were they saying to you? Like, and what was the advice that you were giving them?
As a clergyman, I was allowed to go within the area, but then they imposed curfews. I had to be back home by 9 p.m. I thought there was like a war, like an air raid coming, as if we were in World War II. I mean, World War I and World War II, with their magnitudes, they did not have the restrictions that we had with this virus of a survival rate of 99.97.
Yep.
So that's why there were so many questions being raised here, and they were unanswered, and until this moment unanswered.
Yep.
By the so-called authorities and the experts. But throughout the pandemic, also those doctors in the medical field, those experts as virologists, immunologists, and experts in the medical fields who had still a living conscience, they came out and spoke the truth.
Yep.
But, of course, they were silenced by the mainstream media. They were not, of course, promoted and suppressed to somewhat degree, and censored as well.
And because you're a bishop, why did you feel like it was very important for you to speak out against this pandemic? Like, did you see like a very spiritual danger towards the people? Like you were saying before about how families were getting broken, torn apart, people were doing things against their will. What was the voice, or what do you believe was your not your reason, but your motivation, and why you felt like you had to say something?
I believe if I looked at myself as a bishop, I don't think I would have spoken. But I looked at myself as a father.
Okay.
If you're a father, now whether you are a biological father or a spiritual father, the title is the same. The principle is the same.
Yep.
And what I mean by the principle is the same is when you are a true father and you see your children are hurting, are suffering, are being endangered, then if you are a true father, then you would never remain in silence and be quiet about it. You will run, you will jump, and you will do everything in your power to try and protect your children to the best of your capacity, to the best of your capability.
Yep.
So a bishop is more formal. It's a title that is very formal and very distant from the flock. But a father is so close to his own son.
Yep.
And his own daughter. And I believe, and again with the griefest sadness in my soul, we need more fathers in the church than bishops, archbishops, and popes. We need fathers.
Yep.
This is what we are really lacking in the church. I need to speak to that hierarchy as my own spiritual dad.
Yep.
You know, even when the Lord Jesus, all glory to his holy name, when he was approached by his 12 apostles and they asked him, Lord, teach us on how to pray. The Lord taught the prayer in Aramaic, in Syriac. He said, every time you pray, you say Abon or Awon. Abon in Aramaic. Now, the Aramaic language is the slang, the informal language. Hebrew was the formal language. So in Aramaic, it should transliterate into our daddy who art in heaven, not father. Yeah. Because the word father is formal, but dad is informal. Yeah. I will not, as a son, I will not address my father in a formal way. Yeah. I address him in an informal way because there is no barriers. There is no distance. Dad and I are one. I and Dad are one. Yeah. So when I talk to my dad as if I'm talking to my own self, therefore I don't need an appointment to see my dad. I don't need to think about what I should say to Dad. I will express what I feel as the son to my dad. So when we see leaders in the church that are formal, that are distant, there is a disconnect between the leader and the flock. But when the flock sees this is a father figure, I don't need formalities anymore.